Hey, this is episode 2 of the Freedom Coach podcast. My name is Natalie Sabrina Dahl from the Victory Log and the Coaching Biz Quick Start Formula. And today I want to share with you the 1+1 thing that made all the difference for me. So a couple of my students, they keep asking me, how did it all start? How did you turn it around? What were the steps? What did you do? And what I want to do is I want to share my exact steps I did to take me from being stuck in a cubicle, not making any money, working 24/7, hardly seeing my kids, to having, it's an amazing life. I don't want to brag, but I get to travel the world every month. I'm in a different country. I get to attend trainings, I get to give trainings, I get to teach people, I get to do what I love, and I make a lot more money by working a lot less than I used to. And the purpose of me sharing this is not to brag, or you can say, oh wow, she's so great. Not at all. It's to save you time and money by hopefully learning from my mistakes or my learnings when I share them with you. So today I want to share the 1+1 thing that was a big game changer for me. So when I first crashed my horse business and I realized I had to do something about it and I had to change something, picked up bookkeeping again to just make ends meet, because obviously 25 horses, they still wanted to be fed, and I couldn't just close shop and say, that's it, I'm closing the doors of the business, because I had to slowly but surely sell off the horses while they were still eating a lot of food, as you can imagine. And picked up bookkeeping. My marriage went down the drain. I talked about it yesterday. And what I did was I had a breaking point one Sunday morning, sitting at the kitchen table saying, this is it. I cannot take this anymore. And the only thing I could think of at the time, and the only thing I could afford, was starting to read books. And I read a lot of books. And don't get me wrong, I love books. I think books are amazing. And I still read a lot of books, learn a lot from books. But it's just a very slow process to turn your life around. And it wasn't until 8 years later, when I read a lot of books and I had a couple of ideas that didn't work out, I tried a couple of businesses that didn't work out, that I came across one book. It's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. And I swallowed it because it was absolutely exactly what I need. And here's my first lesson, because that book, it was a total coincidence that I stumbled across it because I was browsing Amazon and Amazon was just suggesting it to me. And it just got stuck in my head, and I didn't typically do that, but I just said, I need this book. And I bought the book. I read it in a couple of days. And in that book, Harv Eckerseed's a training called the Millionaire Mind Intensive. And some of you might be familiar with it, and those of you that aren't, we're going to bring it to Switzerland next year in March. So that's a big announcement. Not a lot of people know about this yet, and it's a program that's been held worldwide, and it helps people to change their mindset in regards to money. And this book really turned my life around, because not just the book, but the seminar. I went to the seminar and I was just blown away. It was 3 days, very, very intensely. First of all, I came in there. I was late. It was in London. I had no money. I had no idea how to pay for my ticket. And I thought, I'm crazy, but I just took inspired action. I felt so inspired by that book, and I said, I have to go there. If the course is only half as good as the book, I really, really have to go there. So I took my credit card, I booked a ticket, and I showed up late because my plane was arriving at 9 o'clock and the training started at 9 o'clock. Obviously, I had to commute to the venue, and I couldn't afford to stay for more than the 3 days with the hotel costs and all that. So I came in late, and it was this big crowd of people. I think it was about 800 people in the room, and they were all engaging with each other. They were interacting, they were high-fiving, and there was constantly a change of state from the trainer. He constantly said, do this, do that, get up, get down, high five, whatever not. And I thought I was really definitely in the wrong place, and I was just about to leave because I felt so out of place with these people. I'm an introvert from personality, so I'm totally perfectly happy being by myself, spending time by myself, and that training was just overwhelming. But good thing I stayed there, and I bared with the training methods that I was not familiar at all. I was just familiar with doing very, very boring seminars where you sit behind a bench and someone talks and you listen and you write down, you take notes, you go home, you forget about everything you learned, you put it in the shelf and you say, that was a great training. So that's what I was used to. And I came into this training and I was totally, mind boggled. But anyway, I stayed, and of course they were selling something. which was a good thing for me. And I remember Arnon Barnes was one of the assistant trainers at that time. And he said to me the program that they were selling was called Quantum Leap. And he said, if you were my sister, I would recommend you take it because it's that good. And he was really speaking sincerely from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of his heart, sorry. And I signed up for it. And the program, I don't know, I think it was 9 or 10,000 pounds or euros. I don't remember, but it was such an overwhelming number at that time. I was still in debt with about 60 or 70,000 from doing a lot of bad businesses and a lot of bad decisions. Now I'm just gonna continue if that works. Sorry about that because I don't want to start from scratch again. You still here? You still with me? Right. So I signed up for the Quantum Leap, and I think the 1+1 thing, the one thing that I did have that really made a difference was persistence. I just never gave up. I just kept going. I kept going, and I made mistakes. I learned, and I just got back up on my feet, and I kept going. And one of the key issues of being successful is just being persistent. So that's the first one thing I want to share with you. Just be persistent and don't give up too soon. Just find or create another way if something doesn't work out. And the second thing was personal development. So you can learn all the techniques and strategies you want, but if you don't work on yourself, if you don't work on you becoming the bigger vessel, the bigger being, that person that can hold more money, hold a better relationship, hold a business that generates millions, it's not going to work. It's going to be like the lottery winner who is just not that type of person who can hold that type of money. And what happens typically, I'm sure you're aware of this, a lot of millionaires from the lottery, they lose everything within a very short period of time. And even worse, they go in depth and they hardly ever come out of it. Because imagine if you have a couple of million at your disposal and you start acting on it and you start doing things that you're not really capable of. It's very easy to get in depth very deeply as well. So those are the two key learnings that I took me 8 years to turn my business around, and it was going another year until I totally turned it around and started making a lot of money doing exactly what I love. So it doesn't take a lot of time if you have the right tools and strategies. If you work on yourself, and most of all, if you get a coach and mentor who can help you out, because that was the second ingredient. And as soon as I started doing the Quantum Leap program, I hired a mentor to help me out. Because before that, I had been doing everything on my own for 20 years, and it didn't work. It just doesn't work. There is no such thing as self-made success. So, conclusion and summary of all of it together, 8 years of hardship and pain. I remember one incident when I was going to talk to one of my debtors from a big bill that I still had for hay for my horses that were long gone, and I was sitting there crying in front of the two guys that were totally helpless. They didn't know what to do with me, and I was just feeling so overwhelmed. And I never ever want to be in that position anymore. Having so much debt and trying to pay it off and just trying to make ends meet, working so much and being stuck, being totally stuck. All right, so that kind of summarizes it, and hope this was helpful. And until we meet again, be free. My name is Alicia B. Nadal. This was episode 2 of the Freedom Coach podcast. Bye-bye for now.